Along the southern coast of China, where the land meets the sea, the rhythm of life is not set by clocks, but by the tide. Water rises, water falls, and with it, everything else moves. For the Jing people, the sea is not a background. It is a system, one that decides when to work, when to wait, and when to stop. Long before modern fishing technology, they learned how to read this system. This is the story of a people who do not control their environment, but learn to move with it. The Jing people live along the southern coastline of Guangxi province, near the border with Vietnam. Their villages are positioned close to shallow coastal waters, where tides expose and cover land twice each day. This environment creates a very specific type of livelihood. Unlike inland farming communities, Jing families cannot rely on fixed schedules. Their work depends on natural cycles that change daily and seasonally. Historically, the Jing relied on small-scale fishing, gathering shellfish, and coastal trade. Boats were simple. Equipment was limited. What mattered most was timing and judgment. Because conditions could change quickly, storms, currents, or unexpected water levels, experience became more important than tools. Knowledge was built through repeated exposure, not written instruction. In this setting, culture developed as a response to uncertainty. It helped people decide when to act and when not to. For the Jing people, the tide functions as both a clock and a constraint. Fishing schedules are organized around rising and falling water. When the tide comes in, boats move out to deeper areas. When it retreats, people collect shellfish and other resources from the exposed seabed. This creates a shifting daily routine. Work does not begin at a fixed hour. It begins when conditions allow it. A difference of 1 hour can change the outcome of an entire trip. Leaving too early or too late can reduce catch, increase risk, or waste effort. Families adjust their routines accordingly. Sleep patterns, meal times, and labor are all flexible. Over time, this produces a different understanding of time, one that is tied to cycles rather than schedules. Children learn this early. They observe how adults prepare before a tide shift, how quickly tools are used, and how decisions are made under pressure. For older fishermen, the sea is not unpredictable. It is complex but readable. They observe multiple signals at once: wave movement, wind direction, cloud patterns, and subtle changes in water color. These details are used to estimate safety, timing, and potential catch. This type of knowledge cannot be learned quickly. It requires years of repeated exposure to similar conditions. Many elders describe it as something that becomes intuitive over time. From their perspective, the main challenge today is not lack of information, but lack of experience. Younger people spend less time at sea, which makes it harder to develop the same level of judgment. Elders are less concerned with preserving specific techniques than with preserving the ability to interpret conditions correctly. For them, culture is not about repeating actions. It is about maintaining accuracy in decision-making. Min is a Jing man in his early 30s. His family has worked along the coast for generations. As a child, Min accompanied his father on fishing trips. He learned how to prepare nets, observe tide changes, and respond quickly when conditions shifted. These were not formal lessons, but practical ones, repeated until they became instinctive. Later, Min left to study and work outside the village. For the first time, he experienced a more stable, predictable environment, where schedules were fixed and income was consistent. When he returned, he realized that traditional fishing alone had become less reliable. Catch sizes varied more, and operational costs had increased. Instead of abandoning fishing, Min adjusted his approach. He combined traditional fishing with small-scale seafood distribution. After each trip, he sells directly to local markets and restaurants, reducing reliance on intermediaries. He also diversifies his work. On days when conditions are poor, he focuses on sorting, processing, and delivery, rather than going out to sea. This approach does not eliminate uncertainty, but it spreads risk across multiple activities. For Min, the goal is not to replace traditional knowledge, but to integrate it into a more flexible system. Coastal environments are changing, and the effects are visible. Weather patterns have become less predictable. Storm frequency and intensity can vary, affecting planning. Fish availability is also less consistent than in previous decades. For the Jing people, this creates a new layer of pressure. Decisions must now account for both traditional patterns and emerging uncertainty. Some families reduce fishing frequency. Others combine fishing with tourism, transportation, or small businesses. However, even in these changes, traditional knowledge remains relevant. Understanding tides and environmental signals still affects efficiency, safety, and outcomes. In this context, culture continues to function as a practical tool, helping people adapt rather than simply preserve. The Jing people live in a place where nothing stays still. Water moves, conditions change, opportunities shift, and yet, through all of this, they have learned something consistent. Not how to control the sea, but how to move with it.